Okay. Yes, I love it. He does some phenomenal ones. I mean, he drew the picture and then painted it. And actually, it was funny because at that time, you know, I'm just natural born blind, right? Right. So at that time, the guitar has a woman's face on it right here, and it looked like me. So it was just a cool photo shoot. So,
nice. Yeah, I like it. All right. Just so you know, for the beginning part, I'm going to turn my video off because I really have not eaten yet today. So I'm going to grab a quick bite.
Go ahead.
So, but I'm still here.
We're gonna get started. Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Good afternoon, everybody. I see people are joining. I'm so excited to have you join us on today. And as you know, before we begin, I always like to give my statement that each speaker here has been doing what they do for many years. Some have designations and/or degrees and experience in their respective fields. Your attendance confirms that you will not hold us liable in any way for the risk, danger, injury, or damages caused to you or the success or failure of your business or any other topic or discussion through these meetings. Okay, so now let's get started. Last week we talked about some things, and there was a topic that was brought up by Antonio Gholston, and hopefully he will be jumping on soon to join us. And I believe it was a critical part. It's a very critical part of business. And what he brought up was sustainability. How do you sustain your business? I didn't answer at that time. I didn't want to just give any answer. I really wanted to give the right answer. So Antonio, if you're logging on or if you're listening later, here's the answer I have. Any business that you have, it's no different than any other committed relationship that you have. It's the exact same thing. This is a committed relationship. And how do you want that committed relationship to look? What do you desire? You must continue everything that you did initially. And when you started the business or you started that relationship, you have to continue with that. And in addition to that, you must be willing to adapt and change. You must be willing to adapt and change. Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. Circumstances will present all kinds of things that will cause you to, I see Antonio's jumping on now. I'm going to give him a few minutes because I want him to hear this because this was his question. I think we have some other people that have jumped on. Hello, everybody. Hello, 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 hello. Antonio, I see you're connecting. I can't wait to get you on here to answer this question so we can get Justin started today. Okay, well, while Antonio is connecting, I'll say this. I see we have some new people joining. I just kind of want to give you a summary of what the purpose of these meetings are. The purpose is to give people who desire to be entrepreneurs or already existing entrepreneurs additional tools to be able to create their business or to be able to take their business to the next level. This is a very critical time for businesses. Small business is still the backbone of America. It is very important that small business owners connect, and it's very important that we seek out information. Because I learned a lot because I flew by the seat of my pants because when I started my business, I opened a franchise and they welcomed me and said, "We're so glad to have you. Here's your log-on and password. Good luck." Well, it was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. And I ran into a lot of challenges. And if I can prevent people from having those same pitfalls, I want to be able to help them navigate through those tough times. So Antonio, I was just reviewing something you brought up last week. You brought up sustainability. You remember that? How do you sustain a business? And so what I was saying is I didn't want to just give any answer. I wanted to give the right answer. And so I thought about it, did a lot of thinking, praying about what the right answer was. And what I came up with was everything that you're doing, those components of the business plan, those things that we're talking about, those are the things that you will need to continually do in order to sustain the business. In addition to, you must be willing to adapt and change to circumstances and situations. What I mean by that, it does not always mean that you are the only one that needs to change how you run the business or how you do business. You may need to also change the type of customer that you are going after, okay? And what's very interesting to me about that is that all businesses and all customers kind of want the same thing. People have businesses and they want to be able to help people, but at the end of the day, they want profit. And customers don't want anything to be hard. So Antonio, you're in the vein of technology, and that technology is a critical piece to how people will do business in the future. The ease of doing business and great service will go so much further than low price. So that's my answer to you for sustainability. Continue to do what you're doing in that business plan, being able to do ease of business, and make sure you're able to change and adapt with circumstances that are presenting themselves. Okay? All right. Last week, I'm going to do a brief summary before we bring Justin on. Last week, we discussed business plans and what they are and what's in them. We concluded that a business plan is a well thought out document that assists you in considering the base or foundation of a successful business. Sum it up, it serves as a roadmap to help you get from point A to point B, and it is necessary in order to secure funding for a business from a bank or a grant. Okay. We also discussed some of the two major components of a business plan that are key to getting you on track. We talked about a mission statement and we talked about an executive summary. In fact, we gave out an assignment on creating an executive summary and a mission statement for whatever your business is, and to email it to me. And that is still an outstanding assignment. In case you lost the email address is arice156@gmail.com. And in case you don't remember what a mission statement is, it's simply the purpose of the business. And the executive summary is a summary of the business plan. I think of it like a teaser or a trailer to a movie. It's that summary that you give that makes the reader want to continue to read about what you're offering. Okay? Any questions or concerns about what we've talked about or about last week's topic or anything like that before we jump into this week? You all are so excited, I can tell. All righty. All right. Well, today's conversation is going to be led by Attorney Justin Camper, and let me tell you a little bit about him. Justin Camper is a business and entertainment law attorney. He's also a public speaker and CEO of JC Productions, LLC. And JC Productions, LLC is an event production company that helps provide a platform for artists and business owners to entertain and inspire others. Justin has been practicing law for 3 years and producing events for over 10 years. He is a self-proclaimed champion of purpose. I love it. That champions the principle that everyone was created for a purpose, and purpose is the key to solving all of the world's problems. Justin continues to work towards the cause of helping artists and business owners live their dreams and fulfill their life purpose. So let's give a warm welcome to Justin. Thank you for joining us, Justin. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and greet entrepreneurs and business owners and to talk about what they need to do in order to get set with the right platform for their business. So thank you for that. So go ahead and you take it away, Justin.
Well, good evening, good afternoon to everyone out there. I don't know what the time zone is, but good day to you guys. I just want to say I'm very, very happy to be on this call. I'm very, very happy to be able to share some things to help people start businesses and to keep their businesses running.
Hold on one second.
I want to talk about a few things today, it's going to be, some of it's going to be very, very simple, And then some of it's going to get a little bit more complex. So I'm definitely going to be, give you guys my information so that you guys can contact me. I would definitely love questions, and you definitely love to help you guys. Okay. And if you guys can put your phones on mute if you haven't already, that would be great. Um, as Angela stated, and first I want to just thank Angela for this opportunity. I really appreciate this opportunity and for all that she's doing for small business owners. As she stated, I'm an attorney. I'm located out of Lake County, Indiana, and I'm actually working with a law firm right now called Pulaski LLP, and you can look them up, pulaskilegal.com. And my purpose is to empower and to help people succeed. And particularly when it comes to the legal field, one of my passions is to empower small business owners and entrepreneurs to live out their purpose by creating wealth through their products and their services. And I think that's a dream that pretty much every small business owner and entrepreneur have, is that they want to be able to create wealth with their product and their service. But the truth is that majority of people that sign up to become a business owner don't actually live out that dream and fulfill that dream. And I wonder a lot is that because they don't have a good product or a good service? Or is there some rules to the game that people just don't know about and they're not succeeding? And I think it falls on a lot of different realms of the perspective. But I think that a lot of people do have a really great product, a really great service, a really great idea, but they don't understand the rules surrounding business, so they often fail. And so I want to talk to you guys about legalizing your business, why it's important to legalize your business, 3 types of law, and a step-by-step method to protecting and growing your business. I'm going to give you 7 to 8 ways. It's going to be 8 ways on how to protect and grow your business through the law. Now, first I want to give some definitions as to what we're talking about so that we can all make sure that we are on the same page. I wanted to define business, and it's a lot of different definitions out there, but I just used Google as a source and just came up with a generic definition. Business is the practice of making one's living through engaging in commerce, which is what we know as selling products and services. The law is a system of rules where a particular community or country abides by and enforces. Entrepreneurship is a person who organizes. Entrepreneur is a person who organizes and operates a business and takes on greater than normal financial risk. Okay, so just to simplify that, business is selling your product or service. Law is a system of rules. Entrepreneurship is a person who is generally taking the financial risk to help start a business. And so this is the B&E project. So I'm talking to you guys, right? The business and entrepreneurs or future entrepreneurs. So business law is about the rules, the system of rules to govern running businesses. And if you don't know the rules, you can't win the game. This is something that I've learned from being a business owner and just going out there with my idea that I often made mistakes with. If you don't know the rules to the game, you cannot win the game. If you don't know the legal rules surrounding business, you won't win the game, quote unquote, of business. And so, for example, I don't care how well you play basketball. I don't care how good of a dunker you are or how good you can shoot or how good you can dribble. If you don't know the rules to the game of basketball, you won't win. You will not get anywhere. Your team is going to continually lose because you just don't know the rules. So once I teach you how to understand the rules of the game, you can know how to win the game. All right. And yeah, and feel free to use the chat below if you have any comments or questions while I speak. Okay, yeah, and so the truth is that a lot of people have great products. They have a great service. They have a beautiful building for their business. They have a lot of different things right. They have great marketing. They have great customers, but they don't understand the law that is surrounding their business. So we're going to talk about some of those rules, and by the end of the night, you guys are going to know what those rules are. So you guys are going to be prepared to win at the game. And so the rules, and pretty much for anything and for any system, but particularly when it comes to the law, the rules serve two purposes. They want you to protect your business and grow your business. They want to protect and grow your business. And so America is built off of a capitalistic society. And so our economy is ran mostly through businesses and people selling products and services. So America don't want you to fail. The government doesn't want you to fail. The government, when they create rules surrounding businesses, they are actually trying to set you up to succeed. Because if you fail, America fails. If businesses fail, America fails. So when I talk to you guys about these rules, you guys have to understand that these rules are meant to help you protect your business and grow your business. They're not meant to harm your business. They're meant to protect you and grow your business. Now, as we talk about these rules, there are three areas of law that you got to know about, because there aren't all laws aren't the same. So there's the federal law, there's the state law, and then there's the local law, right? And so federal law, we all know, or a lot of us know, is that's the central government of the U.S., right? Then you have state, which is whatever state you're in, state law. Local law is what is meant for your particular county or neighborhood, your particular city, things like that. And so understanding that there are three different areas, or three types of law, it's a lot of laws out there. And no lawyer, no matter how much they say it, can tell you everything you need to know, all the laws, right? So that's why you particularly, you want to have a lawyer on your team who you can work with, who can do research for you, who can advise you on different issues that come up, so that they can help you on these different areas of law. Because you might be thinking that you know the law because you looked at some state statutes, but you got to know your issue might be related to a federal issue. Or you might be thinking that you're good because you understand some local laws and some local rules, but you might be violating a state rule. So that's why it's important to have an attorney on your team to make sure that you understand which area of law that you're talking about, and how does your issue affect that area of law. And so, these three types of law have different realms of authority, federal being most authority, state, and then local. Now, in order to begin to get in the game of business and to really start abiding by the rules of law, you have to, and one thing, the way I teach is I try to make things extremely simple. And the one thing you got to do when you are starting a business, and you're starting a business with the government, is you got to notify them. It's just that simple. That's the number one rule to doing business the right way legally. For example, if I decided to start a lemonade stand and I started making lemonade and start selling it out on the street, at that very moment, I am doing business. Now, the only people that would know I'm doing business are the people who may see me doing my lemonade stand. If I don't tell the state, or if I don't tell the local government or the federal government, hey, I'm a business, they're not going to consider me as a business. They're going to just say, that's just Justin out there selling lemonade, and he's not a business. So if you want the state to respect you as a business, you got to let the state know you are a business. And so then the question becomes, so how do you do that? How do you let the state know that you are a business? And so the government is going to ask you some questions to make sure that you're doing things correct and that you're officially doing business. And then you're going to pay a filing fee because the government's going to get some money out of you, right? And so you got to let the government know, hey, I'm here, I'm Justin, and I want to do business. I don't want to be recognized just as Justin. I want to be recognized as a business. And so when the state wants to know and the government wants to know, one of the questions that they're going to ask you is, okay, so you want to do business, all right? You ready? You like, hey, I got this idea. I know that I want to start a business, but okay, I got to notify the state. The question that the state is going to ask you, well, what is the structure of your business? Because there's different ways to structure your business, okay? And if you're following me, just keep on listening in, but feel free to ask questions and comment. So there are different ways to structure your business, and there's there are, like I said, there's a lot of different ways, but I want to just talk about 4 ways to structure your business within the government so that they know who you are. They know that you are a legit business. Number 1 is sole proprietorship. Okay. Number 2 is partnership. Number 3 is limited liability company. Number 4 is corporation. Okay. And so I'm going to explain what those are. Now, a sole proprietor or sole proprietorship is someone who is, single-handedly doing business. That's just like me. I go out there with my lemonade stand. I start selling lemonade. I am a sole proprietor. And so I see a question from Charnay Mason. I'm going to answer that. The question is, how do you let the government know? How do you let the government know you started a business and where to go? I'm going to get right to that. And so, sole proprietorship is someone who single-handedly starts a business. A partnership is someone who is two or more people starting a business together. And so once you decide that, hey, I want to have a partner and I want to share the profits and the expenses in this business, then you know that you are in a partnership. Then the third way is a limited liability company. And a limited liability company is when you tell the government that you want to be recognized as a company. And I'm simplifying it really simple for you. It's when you tell the government, I want to be an official company and I want to protect my personal assets from the business assets. So then the government says, okay, you want to be official corporation or official company, then all right, we're going to recognize you as a business, that you're starting a business, which is separate from you, separate from your personal assets. And so a limited liability company has a lot of great advantages. That's an LLC, what most people talk about. And the 2 advantages are, number 1 is that, you get to protect your assets so that, if someone tries to sue the company and you got to pay a judgment, the company would pay that judgment, not you, not your personal assets. And then 2 is just the taxes. And limited liability company, you only have to pay taxes once, and that's as an individual owner, which they call it the pass-through tax. And so then you have corporation, which is the 4th way to setting up the structure within your business. And so when you have a corporation, it's the same thing. You're separating yourself from your business. You get to protect yourself. You get to eliminate liability from you. But then the thing about a corporation is there's a lot more rules and procedures that you have to follow. You got to have so many people on your team. You got to pay taxes twice. So as a corporation, they can have this thing called double taxation, where you got to pay taxes on the business itself and pay taxes through the shareholder as an individual person. And there's just a lot of different rules surrounding corporations. Corporations are typically good for people who have, major investors trying to invest into your business. And so if you have, someone who's trying to invest a lot of money, a lot of different investors, a corporation is probably the right way to go. But if you just, if it's just you have an idea, you have a few investors, or you are your main investor, you're probably best fit to be an LLC. So out of the four structures that I talked about, the best strategy would be to get a limited liability company for most companies. And so a lot of things I'm going to talk about today is going to be geared around LLCs, because that's typically what most companies kind of fall through. And so to answer Charnay's question, so how do you let the government know you start a business, and where do you go? So you let the government know by going to the government website. So I'm licensed in Indiana, and I know a lot of people on here are from Illinois, but it's usually through the Secretary of State or whatever state government you are associated with. And so once you figure out hey, what structure of business that I'm ready to start with, you gotta go to the Secretary of State, whatever state you're located in. And so for those that are in Indiana, you just go to in.gov, and they should be able to direct you from there if you're trying to find, if you're trying to set up your LLC. And then for Illinois, you just go to ilsos.gov, and they should be able to direct you from there to set up your LLC within the state, and that's how you notify the state. So I'm going to just talk about some steps to actually building your LLC through the state, and it's very simple steps. And so I want to just go through them with you guys, so that and whoever needs to set up an LLC, you will know what you're looking at, and you know what you're looking forward to. And I see some comments from Matt and Barbara. Barbara, thank you guys. I appreciate your compliments there. And so, okay. So step one. So when you go, you have you want to do an LLC, right? And you want to do it within the state of Indiana. You're going to have to go. They're going to ask you a list of questions, and then at the end of those list of questions, they are going to ask you to pay for a filing fee. In Indiana, it's about $97. In Illinois, it's about $150. So the step one is they're going to ask you to name your LLC, and they're going to ask you is your name available? So I know, like in Illinois, and I think Indiana does the same thing. And I'm pretty sure it's probably for most states. You put in your name, the name that you think you want your business to be, and then they'll search it to see if anybody else in the state has that name. And if nobody else has that name, then you can use it. The only thing about it is whatever name you choose, it has to be LLC attached to it at the end of it. So for me, I started a business called JC Productions. I couldn't just call it JC Productions. I had to call it JC Productions / LLC. And for free, like I said, if you have any other questions so far. Now, step number 2 is they're going to ask you to choose a registered agent. And so a registered agent is an individual or a business entity that is responsible for receiving tax forms, legal documents, notice of lawsuits, or any other official government correspondence on behalf of your business. So as I stated, once you begin to tell the government, hey, government, I'm a business now, they're going to treat you like a business. And so you may not want to be the person that communicates with the government. You might want to have someone who's a registered agent who's in place. So in case someone wants to sue you, in case you got some taxes owed, or any type of government correspondence, you have a registered agent in place, and then you put their name, their address on the documents of the LLC, so that your personal information doesn't have to be on there, and the government knows to contact them. The government knows to contact them versus contact you. My law firm offers registered agent services. There are plenty of law firms and plenty of just random people that offer registered agent services. So if you don't want to be a registered agent, there are plenty of resources out there that are fairly inexpensive. Next thing you want to do is, when you're ready to file your LLC, is that you want to, they're going to ask you about the articles of an organization, or certificate of formation, or certificate of organization. It's pretty much the same thing, but it's just the articles of an organization, which is the official legal document to form your business. And so this is just the official paperwork certificate saying, hey, you are a business. They're going to ask you some questions to fill that out, generally on the website, so that you can create your articles of organization on the website. And so when you do that, you provide the name of the LLC, whoever your registered agent is, a list of services that your company is going to do, and you pay the filing fee. So that's your articles of organization. The name of your LLC is going to be on there, your registered agent, list of services that your LLC is going to offer, and the filing fee is going. You got to pay the filing fee. It may be different for different states, but that's in general. That's typically what's going to be on your articles of organization. After that, they're going to ask you if you want your LLC to be member managed or manager managed, and a lot of people get confused. So member managed LLC is an LLC that has a small number of members, and they have a close proximity of members that enables them to have frequent meetings and document signing. And basically what that means is that you have a small business, and you have a few customers, and you have a few people who are owners, and people are going to be working within your business. And then you have manager manage, and manager manage is when you have a large number of members, and or people that are officially a part of your LLC, and those members don't wish to be involved in the day-to-day activities. So if it's just me, I'm selling a lemonade, and I want to become an LLC, I'm going to probably be member managed. Most people are member managed. But if I say, my mom wants to be a part of the LLC, but she wants to give me $1,000, but she don't want to be a part of it. My mom and my dad and my sister and my cousin, they all want to give me $1,000, but they don't want to necessarily be a part of the day-to-day activities. It's still my business. I'm still running it. Then I might at that time want to consider being a member managed LLC, which is that there are some people on a part of the LLC who are managers, who don't be a part of the daily activities, but they are they enable members, certain members, to be a part of the day-to-day activities. So one of the things that I wanted to talk about is, so next after that, you are going to have to deal with an operating agreement. And an operating agreement is another legal document that outlines the ownership and operating procedures of an LLC. So an operating agreement is basically like the contract for the LLC. It's very comprehensive, and it ensures that everybody's on the same page when you're starting a business. And it reduces the risk of future conflict. And so when you are, when you are starting a business, you can always file your operating agreement within the state. Some states don't require it, but it's always good to have. And there's basic operating agreements, and then there's more of a comprehensive operating agreement. It typically, if you're just starting a business on your own, you probably don't want to have a a super comprehensive operating agreement. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but typically that's not your main priority. But if you're starting a business with other people, you probably want to have an operating agreement because you want to make sure that things are clear from the beginning. It's all about setting the right foundation. And so a comprehensive operating agreement would cover a lot of different things, like what to do if you die, what to do if someone wants to buy out the company. It has a lot of different issues and what if scenarios within the operating agreement. My firm does operating agreements. It can be complicated and it can be very comprehensive. And so you want to, identify what's some things that you need to put in your operating agreement, particularly if you are doing business with a partner. Feel free to contact our firm. I saw a question about an S corp and what is the difference. And so, S corp is typically two types of what he's talking about is the S corp and the C corp, and that's basically referring to taxes. So I'm not gonna go too deep into it, but that's basically more so federal government and taxes. And I'm gonna touch a little bit on that a little bit later. So once you have your operating agreement, you have your member managed and versus manager managed. You have your EIN number. I'm sorry, not your EIN number. You have your articles of incorporation, your registered agent. You named your LLC. Now you official. Now you're ready. Once you pay that filing fee, you'll be official. You'll be ready to go ahead and be an official LLC within the state. Then once you become an LLC, you want to be able to let the government know. So now you let the state government know who you are and what you do. Now you can let the federal government know who you are and what you do. And the way you do that is by obtaining an EIN number. So an EIN number is a 9-digit number that is assigned by the IRS to help businesses identify you for tax purposes. And so basically, an EIN number is like a social security number, but it's for businesses. And so once you have that EIN number, you're able to open up a business account. You're able to file federal and state taxes and hire employees. So it's good to have that EIN number. All you gotta do is go to irs.gov when filing that EIN number. EIN number can be kind of complicated, but it's a pretty simple process. So if you have any questions, that's also something that I can help you with, and I can actually go through and do it with you if you need help with that. Next thing I wanted to talk about here in my notes is local. So you got to think about local government, right? And so you want to let local government know that you're doing business. But the thing about local government rules, a lot of it really depends on your industry and of course your location. And so certain industries require certain licenses and permits. And so it really, really varies depending on what type of business you have. So I always, encourage you to, like, that's another thing. If you want to talk to me about whatever is your specific industry, I can talk to you about that, and we can try to figure out, what licenses and permits you will probably need. But you can always just contact your local county clerk just Google whoever your local county clerk is. Talk to them. You can always work with them on making sure that you get the proper licenses and permits for your business. There are also specialized services that help people figure out what licenses and permits are needed. So if you want to pay for a specialized service, they have like a specialized search engine. They can help you figure out, what permits and licenses you need. All right. And so now that I gave you like pretty much a general overview about a lot of the different things that you would need for the rules to the game of business when it comes to federal law, state law, and local law. I just want to talk about 8 ways that you have to that you should take to actively protect your business. Because just because you let the state know, hey, I'm a business, if you don't treat yourself as a business, if you are using your company's funds to buy Burger King for you and your kids, and there's no business purpose behind the funds that you're using, if you're doing a lot of things that that shows that you're not separating yourself as a business, the government is not going to treat you as a business. So just because you notified and you did all that stuff that I talked about originally, doesn't mean that you are going to. That doesn't mean that the government is going to necessarily respect you as a business. And so I want to talk to you about 8 ways to actively protect your business using the law. And so again, as I stated, the purpose of the law is to protect and to grow your business. If you don't protect and grow your business, you're going to assume a lot of risk. And if you don't, and when you assume a lot of risk, you're going to put yourself in liability. And when you put yourself in liability, your business is going to be like it's going to be like a cup with a hole in it. It's going to, every time you put water in it, every time you put money into it, it's going to fall out because you didn't protect your business well, you didn't grow your business well. So number one way, of course, is to making sure that you protect and grow your actively are protecting and growing your business is setting up the right structure for your business, which we already talked about. And for most of you guys, that's going to be an LLC. The number two way to make sure that you are actively protecting and growing your business is through contracts. And I want to quote a friend of mine, Isaac Carr. He said, every business relationship needs a contract. And I really love that quote. I really couldn't change it much more. Every relationship you do in business, whether it's an employee to an employer, whether it's partnerships, 2 people getting together in business, whatever it is, you need a contract. You need a contract that outlines the duties and the responsibilities for each party. So that, and also what happens if they don't do what they say they're going to do. Because when you have a contract in place, it makes things flow much more smoother. It makes people respect you more as an official business. I know we have some marketers online and they can contest to it, is that even having a contract is great for just marketing purposes. We've drafted contracts where we made sure that it matches the font of their website, that it had the right coloring, that your logo is on there. So it's just a lot of different things that goes into contract, even just from a marketing standpoint. And that's something that, we try to take into consideration when we're looking at businesses. We try to make sure that it's marketable and that it fits in line with your company. And it's just a lot of things that you don't think about. And I think we all can contest this, that we often forget about things. Some people, and I do it myself, I'll say it myself. Some people, change their contract every month because they realize, oh, I didn't think about that. And they had a scenario where they realized, oh, I didn't think about this. This situation happened. I need to put this in my contract. And so a lot of things can be avoided when you have an extra eye looking at your contract. So if you already have a contract, if you just looked up something online, feel free to have me look over that contract for you and ask you some questions about that contract so that you can, so that you can get an extra set and make sure that you're protected. Maybe you're like, hey, I don't even know where to start, or I don't know how to start writing a contract. This is boring to me. I can draft a contract for you. I can draft a simple contract, or we can go very complicated, and you get covered on pretty much a whole lot of different ends, right? So it just depends on your industry and what you need. So feel free to contact me if you have issues when it comes to contracts. Also, I don't see this happen a lot where people don't have a contract at all, but I wanted to just highlight that when you are hiring someone to do something for your company, you have to make sure you identify whether they are an independent contractor or employee. Because if they are an employee, you owe them certain responsibilities as an employer. You got to think about, are you going to withhold their taxes? Are you saving? Are you paying a minimum wage? Do you have workers' comp insurance? Things along those lines. If someone is just an independent contractor, you won't have to have all those different obligations. So it's really good to get clear on whether someone is an independent contractor or they're an employee. Again, just because you put on your contract you are an independent contractor, but you treat them like an employee, the government is not going to say, well, you signed right here saying you're an independent contractor. The government has a factor test that they look at to see if you are actually treating this person like an employee versus an independent contractor. So you got to know what those factors are. And so if you are in need of understanding, like, wait a minute, I got these people that I'm hiring, or I'm thinking about hiring, but I'm not sure if they're an independent contractor, feel free to contact me. We can go through the factor test together. But the main thing that you want to look at when you're trying to decide whether someone is an independent contractor versus an employee is the control. You want to look at how much control do you have over that person. Are you managing their time? Are you designating that they have to be at a certain place at a certain time? Are you controlling how they do the job, what they're supposed to do, how they're supposed to do it? It's a lot of different things that you got to look at, but it's the main factor the court looks at is generally control. How much control do you have over that person? The less control you have, the more likely they are an independent contractor. The more control you have over that person, the more likely they are an employee. So that's something to think about. And like I said, if you have any questions about a particular employee or independent contractor that you have and want to look over that contract, when we look over that contract for you, I'm willing to do that. The third thing I want you guys to do to actively protect your business is to get insurance. And I know that Angela is an insurance agent. She can talk to you a lot about that. But I know there's about 3 or 4 in general. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but some things that you want to think about. Try to think about general liability insurance, just a broad insurance policy that protects you from lawsuits. I had a client who was in a very, very tight situation. He made a ton of mistakes. He didn't do none of the things that I told you guys about. Didn't set up an LLC. Didn't partner with the right person. Just a ton of problems that they did wrong. But one thing that they did right was they got insurance. And so even though this client couldn't pay for an attorney long term, his insurance was. So I was able to represent him properly because he got insurance. So insurance is great. Attorneys love insurance. It's a lot of things that can happen. Me being in the event industry, I understand the liability is very high. And so you want to make sure that you have a very good liability insurance covered. I see Jesse says always have a contract facts. Yeah, you're right, Jesse. Okay, so we got general liability. There's also professional liability insurance where you can get insurance for certain professionals, like if you need insurance for an accountant or for a consultant. So look into that. And of course, there's workers' comp insurance. If you do have employees, you need the law is required, at least within Indiana, Illinois, that you have employees, you need to have some level of workers' comp insurance in case of any job-related incidents that happen. Someone gets injured at work for anything. And then there's some, like I said, a lot of it is very industry specific. There's going to be some insurance. There's going to be different type of insurance I'm going to need if I'm running a lemonade stand versus I'm running an event company. So you want to make sure that you always look at your industry and be able to make those decisions. Number 4 is record keeping, and I would say just organization. I'm not the best organizer, but I try to surround myself with people who are good at organization and try to keep good records and things like that. You want to make sure that your documents are organized and that you are constantly keeping good documents. You want to make sure that when you have meetings that you are doing official minutes, that you're taking notes. You want to make sure that you have organization within the company. You want to make sure that people are identified as president or vice president or whatever, and that you're keeping documentation of all those things that are happening. So organization is key. That's number 4, as to making sure that you are actively protecting your business. Number 5 is that you have to protect your property. Okay, you got to protect your property. And there's 2 types of property that I want to talk about when it comes to business, right? We have real estate, you have real property, and then we have intellectual property. And I'm not going to go too in deep into it. I'm going to highlight a few areas because it would take me a whole hour to really go into really in depth with these subjects. But if you got some type of real estate with your associated with your business, you have to protect it. That's something you want to probably get insurance for. That's a lot of different things you want to look into. I just got done working with a customer who just bought some land, and it was a lot of things that went into it. It was a long process. It was a lot of back and forth. And so you want to have an attorney who can really help you and work with you, or someone who's experienced in helping you buy property or protect the property that you already have. And next thing I want to talk about is intellectual property. And this is one of my favorite subjects because I feel like everybody has great ideas and they need to understand how to protect those ideas. And so when you are trying to protect your intellectual property, it goes back to notice, right? You got to notify the government, hey, government, this is my idea. And so, and I want to mainly, I say contacting the federal government, because when you let the federal government know this is your idea, it generally protects you across all 50 states and the states you're in and the local towns that you're in. So there are 3 main types of intellectual property. There's trademarks, copyrights, and patents. Trademarks are words, phrases, symbols that are used to distinguish your product or service from another. That is the purpose of trademarks, is to end confusion within the marketplace. You don't want someone to have the same logo as you, because if someone has the same logo as you, then they're going to confuse. They're like, wait a minute, I was trying to support JC Productions, but I ended up supporting a whole nother company who wasn't JC Productions, and they don't have the great products that JC Productions have. So if you want to protect your company, you got to go to you got to get your stuff trademarked. I see someone say Lateria brand recognition. Absolutely. And so copyrights are protected original creative work. And so when you're doing a copyright is something that is something that you created, and it's yours. It's an original work, and you want to just let the government know that you own it. This is mine, right? And when you technically, if I write a book and I wrote it up, typed it up, and I printed it, I have a copyright at that very moment. It's not when I contact the government that I have a copyright. At that very moment, I have a copyright to my original work. But the issue comes is, how is the government supposed to know that that is your copyright? So you got to let the government know, like, hey, I created this book, I created this product. I want you to know that this is my product. And if anybody else tries to come and steal this product and say it's theirs, here's my copyright. And I can go, it's very intense. I can go into grave detail as to what copyright is, but yeah. So you want to make sure you get a copyright. And then there's patent, right? And patents are special inventions or designs that you are using, some type of scientific thing that you're using, and you want to protect that idea that you created, a new way of doing something, a new kind of book bag, or it has to be some type of invention, generally speaking. When you're talking about patents, and you need a special patent attorney. I'm actually not a patent attorney, but I actually work closely with another patent attorney. We talk a lot about trademarks, and I sent him some clients as well who have patent ideas and they think they want to get patent. And it can be a very expensive process, so you want to make sure that you know what you're doing. Trademarks can be very expensive, copywriting, patent. So you want to make sure that you know what you're doing, that you're doing it with someone who's experienced in it, or just someone who's trained in it, and they can help you with that. And that's something that our firm takes care of as well. And so those are the three types: trademarks, copyrights, and patents. Like I said, I love intellectual property. I love talking about it. And yeah, it really depends on what you need. And so if you want to contact me and talk about what are some things that you want to trademark, what are some words or slogans or phrases that you want to make sure that the government knows that is yours, feel free to contact me. The number 6 step is to actively protecting your business is through taxes, right? And keeping good reports and filing good reports. Make sure you file your taxes once a year. And when you have an LLC, if you're a single member LLC, meaning it's just you want to make sure you have a 1040 Schedule C. That's a form that you're going to fill out through the IRS. And if it's a partnership, which is you or two or more people doing business together, then you want to make sure that you file a 1065 partnership form for multi-member LLCs. Also, when you do have an LLC, there's an annual report that you have to file within the state every year. A lot of people don't know that, and if you don't file the annual report, the state be like, "Well, I didn't know they were still doing business," so they can have reason to dissolve your business within the state, and they won't recognize you anymore. So file your annual report. Whoever you designate as your registered agent should be the one that keeps track of that, and they should have notice of that, and they should be able to file that annual report for you, an LLC. Also, if you have a franchise, you're gonna have to pay franchise tax as well. Number 7 is fighting for your rights. Okay, and so sometimes, no matter how much you try to protect yourself, you might end up in a situation where you're liable, or you couldn't control it, and you have to sue somebody, or somebody has to sue you. And of course, you want to make sure you have the right advocate on your side when you are making those decisions. Should I sue? 90% of cases go to settlement. So you want to make sure that you have the right advocate who can be able to help settle your case outside of trial. But if it needs to go to trial, they're going to argue for you. They're going to fight for you. And of course, our firm can do that. as well as plenty of other people. You want to make sure that if something does happen, that you try to file it. You try to talk to an attorney as soon as possible. A lot of attorneys offer free consultation. Our firm offers free consultation. If an incident happens where a customer didn't pay you, or an employee did something wrong, or someone is suing you, or things of that nature, feel free to contact an attorney and get a consultation, because there are statute of limitations on certain claims. Generally, it's about 2 years, but it depends on what the claim is. But you want to make sure, because you can't just wait forever to say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and file a lawsuit. You got to make sure you file that lawsuit within the right time frame. So make sure you contact an attorney when it comes to that. My last thing is to wait to actively protect your business is finding the right team. And so because you guys are the people that are particularly within this this meeting, and the people that are part of just BE project as a whole, you're doing the right thing. You're taking the right first step, which is find the right team. You want to make sure that you are working with the right people. Relationships can make and break your business. So you got to figure out who are the right relationships that I would need in order to really succeed in my business. So you want to make sure you have the right employees, and there's a lot of ways to do that. You can do background checks and do contracts. You want to make sure that you have the right lawyer, right? We want to compare lawyer prices. You want to make sure this lawyer is constantly communicating with you. You want to look at reviews. It's like I said, feel free to contact me if you need me. You want to make sure you have a good accountant on your team, someone who can make sure that you are keeping track of taxes and keeping track of things that involve, with the federal government and just tax and state government and just taxes in general. You want to make sure you have the right insurance agent on your team, right? Someone you can talk to make sure that you are protected through insurance. And you want to make sure you have good customers, a good relationship with your customers. And there's a lot of different ways to do that. And I know they're going to talk about marketing later and things like that, but there's a lot of different ways to do that to make sure that you have a good relationship with your customers. So the right team, basically, if you find the right team, everything else that I talked about today is going to typically go in place, right? And so generally, find the right team elevates the success of your business. It's impossible to know all the rules to business, right? It's impossible to know everything that you need to know about business. So you want to find experts that can work with you so that they can help make sure that you are protected and that your business is constantly growing. And so, like I said, you want to make sure you find the right team. I talked to you guys about a few issues in regards to business law, and I want to be on your team. I believe in you guys. I believe in businesses. I think that right now we are in need of businesses, and I really want to be able to be an advocate for as many people and their businesses and their business ideas as possible. So feel free to contact me. You can look at my website, justincamperlaw.com, or also you can look me up on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Justin Camper Law. Also, my law firm is doing a special deal right now for different small business owners. So people who want to have continuous help. You want to do like a monthly membership. We're doing a monthly membership for small business owners. So I can let you know about that as well. So feel free to contact me if you have any questions or comments about your particular industry. Thank you, Angela, again for this opportunity. And I look forward to helping you grow and protect your business.
Justin, thank you so much. I think you gave a very thorough explanation of things, questions that people may have had. If anyone has a question, please feel free to ask, unmute your phone and ask. And I just want to say this about what Justin said. He mentioned a lot of different components that are things that we're actually going to be talking about. He mentioned making sure that you have the insurance. We have an insurance person that's going to come on. Taxation. We have a person that's going to be talking about forecasting and budgeting and taxation. He talked about hiring the right person, doing background checks and all of that. We have a human resources person coming on. These things are critical to being able to navigate through entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship can be hairy in some spots, and it doesn't come easy, but it is such a rewarding thing to do. And we really count on people being entrepreneurs to help support America. Not only that, but to be community icons. We need that. That's a big thing. So next week we're going to be talking about location. People are wondering, well, how do I find the right location? Where should I be? Where do I make sure that where will I maximize the views and things that people will see? Well, I am going to share this screen with you really, really quick, I think. I'm going to show you who is speaking next week. Can you guys see that? Yeah? No? Maybe? Can anybody see a screen? No?
No.
Okay, let's try it one more time. Of course it doesn't work right now. And you know why it doesn't work right now, right? Because everybody's on the call. That's why. But next week is my dear friend, Sash Zekarovsky. Sash is a Berkshire Hathaway realtor, and Sash has been an entrepreneur for many, many years, well respected. He has an office in Crown Point, Indiana, and Sash is very, very knowledgeable, and he will be able to help you be able to locate certain things and talk about certain things regarding your location. And then the following week, we are going to have, I think we will be into July then. The following week, July 2nd, is when we will be talking about forecasting and budgeting. That, believe it or not, is usually the most difficult part of the business plan. That is the part that makes people cringe, and that's why it's so necessary that you be on. So we have someone, and actually Lolita Fagan she's been so instrumental in helping me with business, with filing taxes and financial questions and things like that. So you want to make sure that you stay in contact with the group, see what's happening, join the calls, ask questions, because we all want to see you win. We are freely giving you information, not charging you anything to do it this time. But Justin has offered his professional services. We have no reason not to be successful when all of the information is being given. So, Justin, is there an assignment that you want to give out to anybody?
Yeah, I would like to say, I forgot to mention, thank you, Angela. Okay. My assignment will be to look at those 8 ways to actively protect and grow your business, and to see which areas that you need to improve on, and really figure out what are some active steps that you're going to take towards doing, making sure you grow in those areas.
Okay. Now, this will be available, Barbara, I think I got it right this time. This will be available on Barbara's YouTube channel soon. We'll be able to render this video, and hopefully we'll be able to save the one from last week and put it on Barbara's YouTube channel as well. That way you can go back, you can hear the recording time and time again, because oftentimes we don't retain all of the information the first time that we hear it. But please be diligent in your pursuit to be an entrepreneur or a better entrepreneur. Invite other people. We're going to be giving out just really, really good information so that you can thrive in adversity. And even when this COVID thing and everything else moves out, we want you to be a step ahead of everyone else. We want you to be in place and be bank ready if that is what you're requiring. So are there any questions or concerns before we close out? Okay, I know it's been a long day. I so appreciate everybody joining. Justin, thank you so much again. And I'm going to have Janae contact you, because I know she's been writing some songs. and she needs to put some legality behind some of the things that she does. So I'm going to have her reach out to you guys. But thank you so much, everybody. Have a safe night and go and do something fun and go and be great. Thank you.